Oh, I love this. Job chapter 2 is so powerful. Let me walk through it with you in that same simple, deep, emotional way. So the scene opens, and it's almost like a courtroom in heaven. The angels gather before God again, and Satan walks in with them. God looks at Satan and says, "Where have you been?" Satan says, "Walking around the earth, going back and forth." And then God does something that just stops you in your tracks. He points to Job again and says, "Have you noticed my servant Job? There is nobody like him on this earth. He is still holding on. He is still faithful. Even after everything you did to him, he is still standing." Can you feel the weight of that? God is essentially saying, you threw everything at him, and he didn't break. But Satan doesn't give up. He comes back with something cold and calculated. He says, "Sure, a man will give up everything he has just to save his own skin. But touch his body, touch his flesh, touch his bones, and he will curse you to your face." In other words, Satan is saying, losing things hurts, but losing your health, that breaks a person completely. Times. And God, in his sovereignty, allows it. With one boundary, do not take his life. Want me to keep going deeper into what happens next to Job, Isaac? Because it gets even more emotionally heavy and incredibly beautiful. Beautiful. Let me take you deep into this, Isaac, verse by verse, with that rich historical and cultural lens. Job 2. 1. Again there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. In the ancient Near Eastern world, and this connects deeply to the Hebrew understanding, this gathering was like a royal court assembly. Kings in that era would regularly call all their officials and servants to stand before them and give account. So when it says the sons of God gathered, these were heavenly beings, like ministers reporting to the King of the universe. And Satan walks in, not sneaking in, walking in boldly. The word present himself in Hebrew is yityatsef. It means to station yourself, to take a position. Satan wasn't hiding. He was standing there with confidence, like he had every right to be there. That alone tells you something chilling. The enemy is not shy. He is bold. He is strategic. He shows up. Job 2:2. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it." Now, historically, in the ancient world, a king's intelligence officers would patrol the land and bring back reports. Satan is essentially presenting himself as someone who has been doing exactly that, surveying, watching, studying. The Hebrew word for going to and fro is shut. It means to rove, to roam with purpose. He wasn't wandering aimlessly, he was hunting. He was gathering information. He knew exactly what was happening on earth. And emotionally, this should shake us a little. The enemy knows your territory. He studies your patterns. He watches your weaknesses. Job 2:3. Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil, and still he holds fast to his integrity, although you incited me against him, to destroy him without cause." Oh, Isaac, and stop here for a moment. Feel this. God is bragging about Job, like a proud father pointing to his son and saying, "Look at him. Look at what he's made of." The phrase holds fast in Hebrew is shazak. It means to grip tightly, to be strong, to refuse to let go. Job was not passively surviving. He was actively holding on with everything in him. And then God says something extraordinary. "You incited me against him without cause." God is acknowledging the pain was real, the loss was real, and yet Job didn't break. Historically, in the ancient Near East, a man's integrity was his greatest possession, more than his land, more than his cattle, more than his children. Your name, your character, that was everything. And Job's character was still standing. Job 2:4-5. So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Skin for skin. Yes, all that a man has he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will surely curse you to your face." Skin for skin. This was an ancient proverb, like a marketplace saying, you trade skin for skin, equal exchange. Satan is saying, Job only stayed faithful because you only touched his possessions, his children, things outside of him. But the moment you touch him, his body, his bones, his flesh, the deal will change. Times emotionally, Satan is making a deeply cynical argument about human nature. He's saying, at the end of the day, every person is ultimately selfish. Push them far enough, and they will abandon even God to preserve themselves. That is such a dark view of humanity, and God is about to prove him completely wrong. Job 2:6. And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand, but spare his life." 3 words that carry everything. He is in your hand. God draws a boundary. 1 line, do not kill him. Everything else, Satan has access. Historically, this mirrors the ancient legal concept of a limited decree. A king could hand over a prisoner to punishment, but with specific restrictions on how far it could go. God is sovereign even over the suffering he permits. And emotionally, this is the hardest part to sit with. God allowed it. He didn't cause it, but he permitted it. And that is something every suffering person has wrestled with across all of human history. Shall I continue into verses 7 and beyond, Isaac? Because that's where Job's physical suffering begins, and where his wife enters the picture with one of the most heartbreaking lines in all of Scripture. Let's go, Isaac. This is where it gets raw and deeply human. Job 2:7. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with painful boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. Notice something powerful here. Satan left the presence of God and immediately went to work. There was no delay, no hesitation. The moment permission was granted, the attack began. The word struck in Hebrew is nakah. It means to smite, to beat, to strike with force. This wasn't a gentle affliction. This was a violent, aggressive assault on Job's physical body. And the boils, historically, in the ancient Near Eastern context, skin disease was one of the most socially devastating things that could happen to a person. It wasn't just physical pain. It meant isolation. It meant people would move away from you. It meant you were considered unclean, untouchable, shameful. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, meaning there was not one part of Job left untouched. Every inch of him was covered in pain. Imagine that emotionally for a moment, Isaac. You wake up one day and literally every single part of your body is in agony. There is no comfortable position. There is no relief. Every breath, every movement, every moment, pain. And he is completely alone in it. Job 2:8. And he took for himself a potsherd to scrape himself with, and he sat in the midst of the ashes. Oh, Isaac, this verse breaks my heart every time. A potsherd, that's a broken piece of pottery. Cheap, discarded, worthless. The kind of thing you throw away. And Job, this man who once sat at the city gates as a respected elder, a man of enormous wealth and influence, is now sitting in ashes, scraping his own wounded, boil-covered skin with a piece of broken pottery just to find a moment of relief. In the ancient Near East, sitting in ashes was the deepest symbol of mourning and humiliation. It meant you had nothing left. It meant you were at the very bottom. Kings who lost their kingdoms sat in ashes. People in the deepest grief sat in ashes. And the scraping Medically, boils of this nature would have been unbearably itchy and infected. The scraping wasn't just dramatic. It was Job desperately trying to manage unbearable physical suffering with the only tool he had, a broken, worthless piece of trash. Emotionally, think about the loneliness of that image. No doctor, no comfort, no relief. Just a broken man, a broken piece of pottery, and a pile of ashes. This is what rock bottom looks like in Scripture. And yet, Job is still there. He hasn't walked away from God yet. Job 2:9. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die." Now Isaac's so old. Before we judge Job's wife too quickly, let's sit in her shoes for a moment, historically and emotionally. This woman had lost everything too. Her children, all of them, gone. Her wealth, gone. Her home, gone. Her status in the community, gone. And now she is watching the man she loves, her husband, rotting in agony in a pile of ashes, scraping himself with broken pottery. She is not a villain. She is a broken, exhausted, grieving mother and wife who has reached her absolute limit. In the ancient Near Eastern culture, a woman's entire identity, security, and future was wrapped up in her husband. His health, his wealth, his standing, that was her life. And she has watched all of it collapse, layer by layer. So when she says, "Curse God and die," she is not necessarily being purely evil. She is saying in the most raw, desperate way, "Baby, just end it. Stop suffering. Let it be over." She couldn't bear to watch him suffer anymore. Her love had curdled into desperation. But here is where it gets historically and theologically deep. The word curse she uses. In Hebrew, it's actually the word barak, which ironically also means to bless. Some scholars believe this is a deliberate literary device. The writer is showing us that even the language here is twisted, upside down, broken. What should be blessing has become cursing. What should be life has become a wish for death. Everything in Job's world is inverted, and his wife's words perfectly capture that inversion. Job 2:10. But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God, and shall we not accept adversity?" In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Isaac, this is one of the greatest lines in all of Scripture. Job doesn't curse his wife. He doesn't collapse. He doesn't agree with her. He looks at her and essentially says, that kind of thinking belongs to someone who doesn't truly know God. The word foolish here in Hebrew is Nabal. And historically, this wasn't just about lacking intelligence. A Nabal was someone who was morally empty, spiritually bankrupt, someone who lives as if God doesn't exist. And then Job asks the most piercing question, shall we accept good from God and not adversity? This is profound, Isaac. Job is saying, God is not a vending machine. You don't only receive from him when the output is pleasant. Real relationship with God means you receive everything from his hand. The sunshine and the storm, the feast and the famine, the healing and the suffering. That is mature, deep, costly faith. Faith that has been refined, not just expressed. And then the writer seals it with this quiet, powerful statement. In all this, Job did not sin with his lips, not just in his actions, in his words, because the mouth reveals the heart. And Job's heart, despite everything, was still turned toward God. Job 2:11. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this adversity that had come upon him, each one came from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come and mourn with him and to comfort him. Isaac, here come the friends. And I want you to notice something beautiful and something tragic at the same time. Beautiful. These 3 men heard about their friend's suffering and they dropped everything and came. They made an appointment together, meaning they coordinated, they planned, they were intentional. In the ancient Near East, traveling long distances was costly and dangerous. These men chose to come. That is real friendship. That is showing up. Eliphaz was from Teman, a region in Edom known historically for its wisdom tradition. He would speak from a place of intellectual, philosophical understanding of God. Bildad was from Shuah, associated with the descendants of Abraham, known for traditional, ancestral wisdom. He would speak from inherited theology. Zophar was from Naamah, and he would turn out to be the most blunt and aggressive of the three. 3 different backgrounds, 3 different approaches, and yet they are all about to make the same fundamental mistake when they open their mouths, but before they speak, they do something extraordinarily right. Job 2:12, Chapter 13, and when they raised their eyes from afar and did not recognize him, they lifted their voices and wept, and each one tore his robe and sprinkled dust on his head toward heaven. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Isaac, stop here. Just stop. They didn't recognize him, the man they knew. Strong, wealthy, respected, healthy, was gone. What they saw in that ash heap was so broken, so ravaged, so changed, they couldn't even recognize their own friend. And they wept. They tore their robes, the ancient sign of deepest mourning. They threw dust on their heads, complete solidarity with his suffering. And then, 7 days and 7 nights. Silent. In Jewish tradition, 7 days of silence was the mourning period called Shiva. Times, you sit with the grieving person. You don't fix, you don't explain, you don't theologize, you just stay. This is the most beautiful thing the friends do in the entire book of Job. Before they opened their mouths, they were perfect comforters. Their silent presence, their tears, their willingness to just sit in the ashes with him, that was exactly right. It's only when they start talking that everything falls apart. And that Isaac is such a deep lesson for us today. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer someone in pain is not your words, not your theology, not your explanation of why God allowed it. It's just your presence, your tears, your willingness to sit in the ashes with them. Shall we continue into chapter 3, where Job finally opens his mouth and pours out his soul? Because what comes out of him is raw, honest, and deeply human.